Julian Edelman has retired from the Patriots, but according to Rob Gronkowski, he doesn't think that's official. Plus, Bruins acquire Taylor Hall, who made his first game last night. All and a lot to talk about tonight when we go into a Wednesday Sports Talk. Welcome back to another video on Wednesday Sports Talk here, where we're going to talk about all the breaking and the best news of sports. If there's a topic that you want to see that you don't want to learn about anything else, just want one topic, well, there's chapter markers where you can go and skip to the topic that you want to hear me talk about, whether it be Rob Gronkowski speculating that Julian Edelman will make a return. Yes, that's going to be the kicker of the day. Or maybe it's something else. I don't know exactly what it is for you, but whatever it is, you guys drop it, look in those chapter markers, and you will be able to find which story you want to see when you want to see it, and we will get into that today. So, let's begin. So, Rob Gronkowski is known now as Patriots fans as a traitor in some ways. He breached his contract and convinced the Patriots to let him go and scattered down to Tampa to win a Super Bowl. Many Patriots fans have, as I've mentioned on this channel, have respect for Tom Brady leaving, understand, but don't get Gronk's side of view. And now, recently, Julian Edelman, a Patriots player, his contract got canceled and cut, and he announced his retirement after he failed physical exams. In his video that he said, he told everyone, I was going to play football until I fell, until football said, no, we don't think you can do it anymore. And he said, football told me that today. So this is pretty big news. And as we know, now that he is retired, he can eat, but his contract with the Patriots is done. Edelman can easily come out of retirement right now and sign with any other teams. But let's stop that speculation just for a second here, because he is injured. He failed his exam. That's why the Patriots had to cut him. He failed exams. That's why the Patriots had to cut him. It's not because they don't like him. They don't think he's capable of this. It's because he failed physical exams, and that's why. So if the Patriots are going to consider giving it to him, ending his contract for no reason, no, because of that, I don't think another team's going to sign him. So that's very tough. I know a lot of people are like, well, why would the Patriots let him go? It's because he failed physical exam, and they couldn't physically hold on to him. They didn't think he was capable of being a Patriot. They don't think he was capable of being a player any longer, and so they had to cut him in. But Gronkowski was asked about this during a run-in with TMZ on Monday night, and Gronk said he'll be back. He'll be back, yeah. Gronk, who fled from the Patriots, says this to TMZ, he'll be back. Oh, he'll be back. Of course, mentioned that Gronk said there is a... Gronk told reporters that he thinks there's a good % chance that he will be there, and Gronk also said that he asked Edelman, Gronk was also asked, does Edelman belong into the Hall of Fame? I definitely think he's a great possibility to be a Hall of Famer. Rob said he's a beast. Alright, so before we get into the Hall of Fame debate, which I don't want to get into today, let's just quickly talk about he'll be back. He'll be back. Okay, alright. Gronk, who's in this Tampa Bay organization, who knows what's going on behind the scenes. Maybe. To speculation, I don't think that Gronk's really, as much as if Tom Brady was saying this, that I would believe it's Gronk. I don't think he's too much with the coaching and the management up in Tampa, but I still think he has somewhat up there. He hears things, of course. He's on the team. And he says he'll be back, yeah. Is Tampa Bay seriously considering taking Julian Edelman under their wing, taking Julian Edelman and running with him? I don't think so. Julian Edelman, again, failed medical exam. So if they were going to sign him, he would need to pass their medical exam, which I don't think he would do for at least another year. It's a risk we're taking. Also, he's getting up there in age. If I'm Tampa Bay, why take him? And if I'm Julian Edelman, knowing that Tom Brady only really has a few years left before he is on the retirement train, I think that it is important to note that when Tom Brady goes, Gronk's going to go. If you're Julian Edelman, then do you only want to come back for one more year of football? It's too many uncertainties for Edelman, too many uncertainties for Tampa Bay for me to say this is a done deal. But I did strike it extremely interesting that all of a sudden we see Gronk and company coming out and saying, no, like not just Gronk saying, hey, I think this is a serious possibility. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. All right, news on the fly right here. Netflix is making a movie about Saints coach Sean Payton. If you want to ever see Kevin James star in a movie about Saints coach Sean Payton, you're in luck because this is actually going to happen according to Peter Kin and NBC Sports. James has signed on to star in a movie that will focus on what Payton did during the one-year suspension from NFL in 2012, nearly 10 years ago. Roger Goodell hit Payton with the one-year ban due to the role that the Saints coach played in the Bounty Gate. The fun part of this story is that Payton decided to use his year off to coach his son's football team, and that will the part of his life that the movie is going to cover. So it's not really going to cover the football. It's going to cover Sean Payton during his suspension, and Kevin James is going to star in that movie. So that's your news on the fly. Let's get back into our next big-time story right here. The Bruins have acquired former MVP Taylor Hall from the Buffalo Sabres. Now, if you remember, the National Sports Podcast, you guys got to tune into that podcast. This one went on Tommy's channel. And on that National Sports Podcast, we discussed the possibility of a trade. And I don't think the Bruins came up. But Taylor Hall heading to the Bruins has sparked a lot of people here. And as a Bruins fan, and as a hockey fan in general, hearing this was a little, I was very, why? He's a great player, but he hasn't been to himself for a long, long time. Now, when I'm recording this video, which is Tuesday night, he is premiering his first game tonight, which will be tomorrow. So I won't know how he does until I get off of this recording set and go watch him. But I think that Taylor Hall and his whole everything, I don't know. Is it just everything about him that might strike me bad? We've heard many things about how he is in the locker room and his behavior and his just honestly bad stuff. Part of the reason he's been traded many, many times. And up in Buffalo, I don't think that stopped because in Buffalo there's not many people in that locker room that are very, very gonna tell him you can't do that. There's Jack Eichel, but as we discussed in that National Sports Podcast, Jack Eichel's kind of just as bad. So we came up to the question of, I came to the question of, does the Bruins have more people in the locker room that can just maybe narrow that down, that attitude? And I think they do. Brad Marchand, Pasternak, Bergeron, etc., etc. There's many veterans on that team that aren't going to keep up with his stuff. He is an all-star, though, but he has not been. I mean, his Buffalo numbers have been less than exciting, and his numbers even before that have been not great. He was a second-round pick, though, so Ange Bjork is heading to Buffalo, and they will face off tonight. I mean, I think this is going to be interesting moving forward, but let's watch and let's see how this goes. But I am concerned, and I think that having him in the locker room will not be good. And if he doesn't show it on the ice either, and he has bad attitudes in the locker room, then I'll be mad. But if he can show it on the ice and has a bad attitude, I think I can handle the bad attitude in the locker room for exchange, though, for a good player on the ice. So that's another news on the fly. The Jaguars have given Trevor Lawrence a playbook already. This is reported by Rap Sheet. And he's already talking about retaining information like members from the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Ian report that NFL Now, the hashtag Jaguars, has spent hours zooming with quarterback Trevor Lawrence, and he's impressed with the rotation of their scheme, similar to his rotation, similar as the Bengals last year. Jags has made the most of its time with the presumptive number 1 pick. I'm not so impressed with Trevor Lawrence. I don't think Trevor Lawrence is going to be the next Tom Brady. I wouldn't pick him first if I was the Jaguars, but clearly the Jaguars think he's the next best thing, and they're going to pick him. So that's their choice. But I think that very interesting thing, though, that they already give him a playbook. It's kind of normal. I mean, it happened last year, apparently, with Joe Burrow. I wasn't really paying much attention, but it is what it is. I wouldn't pick him, though, because I don't think he's that good. I actually think there's better people. But he's drafted number 1, and the Jaguars want him. We'll see how he does in the NFL season. It'll definitely be a story to follow. Last but not least, Texans removed Deshaun Watson from intro to in-house TV show. Deshaun Watson has now been completely removed from the in-house TV show. And why are the Texans distancing themselves from Deshaun Watson? Why? Well, as we know, there's many allegations against Deshaun Watson, lawsuits coming in from him. And for let's not talk about that for a second. Let's talk about him wanting to leave and trashing the organization. Well, now the organization, I think, has a little leverage. Well, you've got some lawsuits. You're not really going to get anywhere until you're proven innocent. And so the organization is now distancing themselves with leverage, saying, I think we might actually get rid of you and then throw you out to the dust for everything you said. I don't know if Deshaun Watson will find another home. I know the market probably doesn't want him unless he's proven innocent on all of those lawsuits that have came into him, and I don't think he'll find anywhere unless he is proven innocent. But there's really not much news that came out of those lawsuits, so we don't know where he's going. NFL season, trade deadline, and the trade stuff, just trades plus the draft is coming up, so he'd better hope if something speeds up, or he can. It looks like the Texans are going to drop him, though, because they're already saying, we're canceling you from our in-house TV show. They're distancing themselves. Could be for many different reasons. All right, thank you all for watching this video. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe, hit that bell button, and hit that like. Fun Friday coming out on, guess what, Friday. And I'll see you then, guys. Road to 80 subscribers. So pumped up. Hopefully we can get there soon. Bye.